What's up, and hello to the one person who's ever commented on any of my YouTube videos. Today, I'm hoping to start a new series called Evangelical Reacts to Christian Shit. And I say new series as if I have any other series, but I don't. So what does that mean, Evangelical? It means I was an evangelical Christian, and now I'm not anymore. And the reason I wanted to do this is because I've seen so much weird Christian stuff come out, especially with COVID and some of the conspiracy theories and how it wraps into Christianity, that I wanted to start talking about it a little bit more, because I feel like with my Christian past, I can give a little bit of an insight into what's going on in the Christian brain or the Christian world. Now, I'm not a Christian anymore, and obviously things are always evolving, so I can't say exactly what's going on for people, but I was really into it for a while and only just recently in life, in the grand scheme of all time, stepped away. But it's been enough time that I feel like I have this perspective now. I can look back on the way that I was thinking about things and see the ridiculousness of my thought processes. So for those of you who don't know what an evangelical is, very generally, and for me, it meant believing in the Bible totally and literally. Even if something could be taken as a metaphor or an allegory, it was still literal. So that caused me to believe things like the earth and humanity are only 6,000 years old. Jesus really did walk the earth and then die and then come back from the dead. Evolution was science's way of slapping God in the face, and a myriad of other things that I'm sure we'll get into as I continue making these videos. But today, I found a video that I wanted to talk about because it's labeled Logically Disproving the Big Bang in 17 Seconds, but it's a 7-minute and 15-second video. So I was interested in figuring out why 17 seconds turned into 7 minutes. I think that there are some interesting things to talk about. So without further ado, let's dive in. So right off the bat, I love this beginning shot of him with his dog. It's very earnest, it's very determined. I can see how he's just searching for the next person that he's gonna help and he's gonna save. And I now view them as a victim of him, but he's viewing them as a victim of sin. He's going out there, he's searching for his people. And then he finds this chick.
Have you ever heard of the saying, familiarity breeds contempt?
No.
It's a famous saying. It means we take certain things for granted in life. We take our eyesight for granted. We don't really think about it until we go blind.
Okay. I mean, already a lot to break down here. First of all, I feel like she is high as shit, and she keeps looking at the camera why is this so close? I'm actually kind of shocked that she stopped for him, because she looks like she's not having it already. This is something that Christians love to do. They just throw things out there.
Oh, you like your eyeballs, don't you? Well then, here's this conclusion. That doesn't have anything to do
with anything. So already he's building up his case, but it's it feels really flimsy to me. It feels very familiar in that old Christian way.
Are you thankful for your eyes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who made them?
What do you mean, who made them?
Where'd they come from? Everything has to be made.
Oh, I guess my mom's uterus.
Oh my God. So again, building up these really big things where it's
are you grateful for your eyes? Have you ever thought about where they came from?
And she's what do you mean, who made them? And for her to give that answer, I fucking love that. She didn't even hesitate.
So your mum made your eyes?
Yeah.
And your dad?
Yeah. Well,
Well, I guarantee the last thing on your parents' mind when you were conceived was making eyes for you.
Yeah.
They were making eyes at each other.
What the fuck did you say?
They were making eyes at each other.
What a weird way to, you're not even a minute into this conversation, and you're
your parents were not thinking about your eyeballs when they were fucking. They were thinking about fucking each other.
And it's one of those pieces of a really vague, big argument that doesn't really make sense. It sort of pulls on emotional strings that you're
yeah, I guess I like my eyes, and no, I guess they weren't really thinking about me as I was being formed and my eyeballs were being made, but I don't really know where you're going with this.
She probably does. I'm sure all of us do. It's just so see-through. And it's just so stupid.
In God's existence?
I don't really think about it. No. I don't really think about it.
Are you an atheist?
He also cut out some stuff there, and I feel like we're missing some context, because he goes from being
your parents weren't thinking about you when they were fucking
to
God.
What a weird transition. There's no segue there. If she didn't know before, she now knows. where this is going.
I wouldn't consider myself one. I don't know much about it, about being an atheist, so.
Well, an atheist is someone who believes that nothing created everything.
I love that he had the atheist definition just like on lock, where he's like,
An atheist is a person who believes that nothing created everything.
which I feel like is another just complete distillation of atheism. And also there's this word that he used in there, believes, like this, the atheists believe in nothing. And Christians love to talk about how, well, you like criticize us for believing in this God and we can't prove it, but you also believe in things, where it's like not really a belief system, it's more just like a resignation to believing in anything. I'm not an atheist, so that is probably also not the right definition. But for him to be like, are you an atheist? And then her to be like, I don't really know what an atheist is. And he's like,
Oh, well, Webster's dictionary says this fucking thing, and that's what an atheist is, so now can you tell me, are you an atheist?
at this point, all my guards would be going up. I'd be like, this guy is obviously leading me somewhere. And that's what's so annoying about a lot of these conversations, is that they're not real conversations. They're loaded with their definitions, their weird, vague arguments that build up a base to try to like emotionally pull on some things but logically confuse you. And it doesn't really give you a chance to think about, well, you know, this is actually where I stand, because they're never going to reflect that back to you. They're never going to be like, oh, that's an interesting position. They're just going to be like, well, here's this other definition that you need to know to make sure that you know you're a fucking idiot.
If I believed in the Big Bang.
Yeah, but there had to be materials for a Big Bang, and any Big Bang that bangs doesn't create order, it creates chaos. You let off a Big Bang and you don't have flowers, birds, trees, sun, moon, stars, puppies and kittens and giraffes and fruits. All these things have got order to them from the atom through the universe.
So here we are, a minute and a half into the video, and he's finally talking about the Big Bang. The title is logically disproving the Big Bang in 17 seconds, but his logic solely relies on talking about fruits and animals and how everything has order. And that's just a complete misinterpretation of what the Big Bang is and what science is talking about. It's not just like, well, at one point there was an explosion and now we've got mangoes. I mean, it is kind of, but not like the way that he's saying it. He's also obviously building up the argument now that, like, well, there's order to everything. And how do you get order? It's usually by design. And so he's leading her down this path of like, well, if you agree that there is order, then you must agree that there was design, which you must agree then that there is a designer, which means you must agree that there is some kind of intelligence. And then I'm sure he has some sort of progress to get to the Christian God being that intelligent designer. So let's see where it goes.
Do you think God exists?
Boom. First question after he goes, well, there's order to everything. He's like, so do you think God exists? Because there's order. So what do you think now that I just logically disproved the Big Bang with my fruits and vegetables?
No.
And then she's just like, I don't care about your weird argument here about the fruits and animals, man. Like,
No.
no.
Building?
Yeah.
How do you know there was a builder?
He asks her to look at the building, and you can see it in her face. Like, immediately she's like, no. She's already drawing the conclusions that he's trying to get her to make, which for some reason he thinks is going to convince a person to believe in something entirely different than what they believe by pointing a building out.
How do I know there was a builder? Because it's here.
Yeah, buildings don't build themselves.
There's that weed cough. But here we go. I'm sure his brain is lighting up right now. Now, she's the one who said,
That building's there because I can see it and I know that there's a builder.
I feel like she knows. I feel like maybe she's almost toying with him.
The building is absolute proof there was a builder, and same with paintings. The painting is proof of a painter. The painter could have been dead for 300 years, but you still know there was a painter because paintings don't paint themselves.
This painting thing, like, this is what I'm saying. He's got it loaded up, and you can see it in her face.
Dude, I don't care.
She doesn't give a shit about what he's saying with the painting. She's just like,
I get it, there's a painter, you think God is a painter, I don't care.
but this is what I'm saying about the conversation. Like, it's not a real conversation. They have their bullet points memorized so that they know how to go into a conversation and break down anything that anyone is saying, but not with actual intelligent arguments. They're attacking something you don't actually believe by building something up and being like,
Well, if you think that this building has a builder, then you must think that the universe building has a builder. You can't think two separate things.
and the person's like, this.
No, I never said that. Like, I think that a person built the building because that's how I know buildings are made. I don't know how the universe was made, so I'm not going to say that somebody made it.
It's a problem with using either or mentality, which is super common in Christianity and something that I struggled with for a long time. So often they use these very like black and white arguments that don't really stand up if you try to go deeper into them, which you can't really do that much in a street conversation like this, which is often why I think you find them in the street, because it's easy to be like, here's all these stupid examples, and you don't have time to really like think about what I'm saying, and it sounds good because I'm using all of these flashy terms and like these weird examples of buildings and fruit, and I'm largely appealing to your ignorance, because when it comes to God, you can never really know, which is a huge tenet of Christianity anyway, because that leap of faith shows that you have free will and you are choosing to take that leap rather than God just showing himself to you and you being like, well, I'm forced to believe in you now, which is a whole other thing. But let's keep going.
And creation tells us there's a creator, and conscience tells us that he demands morality.
I don't even fucking like... He's just saying things. He's not asking her anything real. He's just asking her things so that he can fill in with his placeholders, which he obviously has memorized to the T because he's just talking so fast. I mean, he's using the painting to be like, all right, well, a painting has a painter, so now we know the universe has a creator. And then our conscience tells us that that creator has a demand for justice and morality and righteousness. So already he's like filling in blanks for parts of his argument. And that's not even what they were talking about. I don't know why he's like making these huge jumps. I mean, I do know. It's because he wants to make these jumps to try to get her to like stumble over herself at some point and be like,
oh, I see what you're saying. Like, I'm going to take a piece of this away with me and think about this.
But when the fuck does this ever work?
So do you think there's an afterlife?
And then immediately just jumps into the next question. Just says all these things, doesn't wait for a response, doesn't see how she reacts to it, and then it's just like,
do you believe in an afterlife?
I like to think about reincarnation. I don't want that to be true because I don't want to come back. But I don't know. I believe there's something like your consciousness lives on, or maybe it doesn't and you're just in denial about it.
You don't really know.
All right, so she's got some interesting ideas, but overall she does believe that something happens. He then fucking laughs at her.
You don't really know. What were you in the past life? If you come back as something, what did you do to either be punished by giving you this body or be rewarded?
He's just like,
You don't know. You don't know what you're talking about. What were you in the past life? Huh? Tell me. What'd you do to deserve this?
This is also a very Christian take on karma. It's like very focused on the black and white again of the reward versus punishment. Whereas karma, I'm pretty sure, is just a system of consequence. It doesn't really have to do with like, you did this bad thing, so now you are being punished. Or you were really good, so here's your reward. It's more like the energy you're building up in one direction continues in that direction. He's very focused on the punishment and reward because that's what his system gives him. And I don't think that's what it is for karma. I don't think that that's the right interpretation.
Do you think you're a good person?
Generally, yes.
How many lies have you told in your life?
Too many.
Ever stolen something?
Yeah.
So you're a lying thief?
Yeah.
And do you still think you're a good person?
Yeah.
You think a lying thief is a good person?
Yeah.
What the fuck? So here we are again with these really intensely different conclusions from the words he's saying, or especially that she's saying. He's like, have you ever lied? Have you ever stolen something? She's like, yeah, for sure. Like, who hasn't? He's like,
so you're a lying thief,
you can see the defiance in her face, I feel like. She's just like,
Yeah, you want to go? I'll fucking lie to you right now and steal your shit. I don't give a shit. I'll take your stuff right now and lie to you about it. I'll tell you I didn't take it after I took it, bitch.
Do you know what the problem is there? Your standard of goodness is very low. If you look in the dictionary, there are over 40 different definitions of good.
What did I say about the dictionary? What did I fucking say about the definitions? He's just got Merriam-Webster dictionary. I don't know what the dictionaries are called. It's been a while since I've opened one. He's just like got them loaded up. He's like,
there are 15 exactly definitions of what it means to be a good person, and you don't fit any of them.
Who are you that you just come to a person with bullet points loaded in your brain like a machine? You're just gonna pile drive through whatever the person says with your definitions.
You and I aren't morally excellent. We're not good in God's book. We may be good in our own eyes.
Here he is, too, beginning to build up the idea that we are all sinners and that we all need God. So I feel like we didn't really ever finish with the Big Bang. She never conceded to anything. He never really said anything. And now they're just on to like, well, you know you're a sinner too, right?
Have you ever used God's name in vain?
What do you mean?
She says, God damn it there, by the way. I really took the time to zoom in, full screen, look at her lips. What is she saying? The blasphemy is God damn it.
Yeah, I'd say so many times.
Have you ever looked with lust?
Yeah.
Have you had sex before marriage?
Yeah.
So these are personal questions, but there's a reason for them.
You don't end it with, these are personal questions, after asking, like, how much you fucking? Like, how much you horny, girl? Like, what you trying to do? It's really weird to just be on the street and be, like, asking these super personal questions, and then being like, so those were personal questions, but let me ask you this. You've already invaded the privacy. It's not her fault that she's just answering. She's, like, bombarded by this guy. It's really awkward to be in these scenarios and to be presented with these super personal questions, but you're already in the dialogue with this person. It's not that easy to just cut it off and be like, all right, well, this is getting weird because of like the social contract that you have going with people at every moment, whether you're conscious of it or not. So for him to like be throwing these things out there to try to drag her through the mud, to then try to convince her of what he believes, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
well, you're a little slut. You're a lying thief. I'm here to tell you it can all go away if you believe what I believe, so you can feel better about yourself.
When she doesn't even feel bad about herself in the first place. She's stoked about these things. He's the only one that cares in this situation, which is often true of Christians. They're the only ones who care, but in a bad way.
Marie, I'm not judging you, but you've just told me you're a lying, thieving, blasphemous, fornicating adulterer at heart.
There it is. He just fucking said all the things I just said. He's just like, well, there's punishment in the universe and I'm the punisher, so get the fuck over here, and like drags her through the mud, dude. Straight up does not hold back. Calls her all those names. So rude.
And you have to face God on Judgment Day, whether you believe in him or not.
That is a large presumption to just say to somebody, well, you're going to face God on Judgment Day for all these terrible things that you've done, whether you believe it or not. It's just such a weird approach to life. And I remember thinking this. I remember being like, all these people are going to like go to hell, whether they know it or not, whether they believe it or not. And I have the truth. I have the answer. And what a fucked up way to approach anybody. And just what a fucked up way to approach the world. What a fucked up way to be. To think that somehow you're the harbinger of truth. That you're carrying the one truth that could save the person in front of you or the people around you. As if they are not sovereign beings of their own. That can make their own decisions and come to their own conclusions. And could very well believe something completely different from that. From God judging them in the final days. But you want to say, well, it's going to happen whether you believe it or not. And you could ask why. And they'd be like, well, because I believe it. Why do you believe it? Because it's true. It doesn't make any sense.
On Judgment Day, you're going to be innocent or guilty. Well, you'd be guilty like the rest of us. I mean, we've all broken those commandments. There's not a righteous person on the face of the earth. So does it concern you that if you die in your sins and God gives you justice, you'll end up in hell?
No, of course it doesn't concern her because she doesn't believe that. The only person concerned with that are people who believe that. I love that he kept his question in there, but then cut out her answer. I bet it was a sick answer. And the bullshit that you're trying to spill to her right now is not going to change her mind. Mostly because you've just insulted her most of the time, but also because you clearly don't respect her as a person, as an intelligent being. And so why would she ever be like,
Yeah, you know what? I believe that now.
Does that concern you?
No.
Deeply concerns me. I'm horrified at the thought.
He says it himself. He's fucking horrified. So I guess you can imagine, you know, if he really believes this stuff, then of course he would want to go out and try to save as many people because he's fucking kept up at night by this shit. He's like, this is terrifying. And that's what I used to be driven by as well. I wanted to help save people. That's not giving people the respect that they deserve as an individual person. I don't need to save anybody. If there is some sort of saving that needs to happen, it's going to happen because they want it to happen, not because I want it so much for them. It just turns into a weird codependent relationship at that point where you're just like,
I need to save as many people as possible. It is my duty given to me by God.
And God's given us capital punishment of death and damnation because sin is so serious in his eyes.
So now we come to the crux of my issue with this video. He comes back to the idea of punishment here, which, like we said earlier, he believes in because that's what his system gives him. A lot of people believe in punishment that don't believe in Christianity, but Christianity takes it to the nth degree and says that you're going to be punished for eternity based on what you do. Punishment implies that there was an agreement to a set of rules or standards before something happened, and then someone knowingly or willingly broke those rules, so their consequence is an agreed upon punishment that is set beforehand. So my problem with this is that nobody agreed to God's rules. Nobody was like, I'm down for this plan, sign me up, and I'll try to do my best, and if I don't do it well, then I'll go to hell. Like, I agree to that as a punishment. Nobody said that. Maybe Adam and Eve agreed to that, if you think that Adam and Eve were real people. But even then, Adam was made without asking to be made, and was set up as a glorified gardener and zookeeper, and God was like,
shit, man, that's a lot of work that I have for you there. I'm gonna go ahead and put you to sleep, take out one of your ribs, and create another one of whatever you are to get this shit done.
And just as a side note, I find it hilarious that God made all these plants and animals and stars and everything, but when it came to naming them, he was like,
nah, you two naked biped motherfuckers take care of that. No, I'm not paying you. You're staying in the Garden of Eden. That's payment enough. Oh, it'll be great exposure for your resume. Oh, what's a resume? Well, just trust me. You're not gonna be here forever, so you're gonna need one of those.
God is also eternal in every way. He's everywhere, all-knowing, all-powerful, which means he knew that this was all gonna go down when he made it in the first place. I'm not a god, but if I was, I guess, and I looked into the future of my creation, who I would later refer to as my children, and I saw that they were all going to reject me to the point that I was going to send them to an eternal pit of misery for 75 years that they spent on this rock that I created in a void, I would probably be like,
Probably not.
And 75 years is not even what everyone always had. It was less time before modern medicine. So you get 40 years to figure out what's what in the eternal realms, which are also outside of your waking reach. And then you get cast into one of the two options that there are in the entire universe based on those years. Of course, if you take the Bible literally, which I did, then you believe that some people were up in this piece for almost 1,000 years. And you know what? Maybe that's enough. Maybe 1,000 is the cutoff where it's like,
yeah, you had enough time to figure out what the fuck was going on.
So, yeah, you do deserve hell if you live that long. So back to my original point about the word
punishment.
It doesn't really apply here in this guy's argument because it's more like subjugation or enslavement. Because the rules are God creates the system and then God creates man, which he also calls us children, and puts them in the system without asking their permission because how could you ask? He's creating them. So now you're thrust in this thing without your consent. And then man sins against God, which is opposite to God, even though God is everywhere and everything. So if you sin, you don't get God. You get misery forever. Seems like a fair trade. And by the way, you're automatically born into that sin, so you're fucked from the get-go. And to balance all of that out, you absolutely have to accept God's actual son as your savior. You know, the one that got abandoned while he was being tortured and dying on a cross because he was full of mankind's sins. Sins that only exist inside of the system because God created it, because he has to have created it because he created everything. Some people might like to argue me on that point and say that he didn't create sin, it was created when Lucifer rebelled against him. But how does an eternal God, who is everything and everywhere and all-knowing and all-powerful, not still somehow a part of the thing that exists inside of what he created? Oh, and also, your one-way ticket to salvation is also not something you consented to. So now you're forced to agree to more terms that were pre-established, and you have 40 to 80 years to do this. Somewhere in here is usually where people say, well, God wanted free will. He wanted us to be able to choose for ourselves. Or they'll also say, God is eternal. We can't possibly ever understand God fully because he's outside of our human understanding. If that shit is true, how is it up to us to fucking figure it out in the first place? If we're so dumb that we can't even get how or why or what the fuck this dude is doing, how is it on us to figure any of it out?
Oh, because of free will.
How is it free will when you didn't even have a choice in the matter? You didn't get asked to be created.
Well, you have a choice now.
Do I really though? God's love is said to be unconditional, but this choice that I have is based on the condition that I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior and bring that boy into my heart so that I get the only good option out of of the two options that are presented. The other option is eternal separation from supposedly the only good thing in the universe, with a side of pain, excruciating suffering, and torture. Is it a free choice if someone points a loaded gun at your head and says,
"Tell me I'm awesome or you fucking die. You can't possibly understand why this is happening, but you better fucking worship me, otherwise this bullet's going through your dumb skull and then you get to suffer forever because you didn't tell me I'm awesome."
No, it's not a free choice. That's coercion. That's manipulation. You would not be held liable for your choice in that situation because you can't actually give consent in a situation like that. And to me, that's what's happening with the eternal question of God and whether or not to worship him. All of it is based on fear of what's going to happen to you. And imagine if he points the gun at people you love, your family, your friends, and says the same thing. But this time he tells you,
"Oh, trust me, I'm a super cool guy. We can hang out after this if you want. You can worship me forever. It'll be so cool for you."
Does that make you suddenly go,
Oh yeah. I'm motivated by my love for you as a being now. Thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely,
Now pull the trigger.
What?
I said pull the trigger.
What? No, please, these are my children. How could you?
You gave me the choice. I have chosen.
I'm so sorry. I have to kill you because of him now.
What is he talking about?
How could you do that to them?
no, you don't. Now you're potentially more afraid because these are people you love and care about, and you don't want to be the reason they die. So you tell him he's awesome, you worship him to save your life and the lives of the people you care about. And this terror is what the guy was talking about in the video.
I'm horrified at the thought.
Because he's in this situation where he's like, the gun is loaded and pointed at every single fucking person's head. And it's up to the only people who have the knowledge of the truth, which would be Christians in his mind, to save all of them. You can't freely give proper consent in a situation like this because you're being manipulated and coerced with a set of rules that you never agreed to in the first place and that you'd probably never agree to. So I think that's a lot of what I was gonna say about this video. So now we're pretty much into like the sermon of this. He spent most of the video trying to build up some kind of case for what was supposed to be the Big Bang, but talked about multiple different things and never really concluded anything about any of them. And now he's sort of just proselytizing in the annoying way that a lot of Christians do, and that I did. If I did this to you, I'm so sorry. It hurts me to look at this now and to remember my time in this. All right, so she's over it, and so am I. So we're gonna wrap this up here because now he's just like, "Oh, please tell me you'll think about it." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." But the only other thought she gave to this was when she was telling her friends about the weird man on campus who was telling her that she was a slut and that she was gonna die. So I'm sure she was super motivated to continue to think about what he had to say. He says, "I want you to think about this because I care about you." That is not evident throughout any of the video. If he cared about her, they would actually be having a conversation. It goes back to my point about all of the bullet points that he just has memorized, ready to attack anything that anybody says. And he's doing it in such a way that doesn't necessarily feel like an attack, but it subverts everything that another person might say because they're not really listening to what you're saying to hear it. They're listening to it to call on the information that they know to prove your information wrong. So it's a really common tactic, and it's also a common tactic to do this like gaslighty, like, "Oh, I'm only saying this because I care about you and I care about your soul." I've had people tell me that shit and I'm just like, no, you don't. Like, you're just afraid. You're afraid for yourself, and maybe you're afraid for me. Those two things are not correlated. Fear and care are not the same thing, and you can tell the difference if you pay just a little bit of attention in these conversations who actually cares about the people that they're talking to, and this guy does not. So yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for today. Let me know what you guys thought about this. I've got some other videos that I found that I think I'd like to react to and maybe talk more about my experience and see what you guys have experienced. Let me know what you thought about anything he was saying or my thoughts about it. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next time.